Welcome back to Embrace the Weight, season 2, episode 1. We'll be going over Brian Shaw's new store and why he left Repcon 1. We'll go over the Masters deadlift competition between Heinla and Pritchett, and covering Beast of the Bench.
Beast of the Bench.
Before, I guess you want to talk about the Iranian guy who is calling out Thor, who's saying that he's going to be the next person to hold the deadlift record. He's aiming for 6 months from now, and he's aiming for 505 kilograms. I kind of think he or someone else will get it, because with how fast these records are starting to fall, Eddie held it for, I think before Eddie, 10 years or something, and then Eddie held it for 2.5. It looks like Thor's going to hold it for 6 months to a year.
Yeah, I think people are training for more specific lifts now. Like, for instance, ever since Wuss did the record-breaking thing that they're doing now, I think more athletes are going to start being able to train for that. So I think we're going to see records kind of fall more. Mm-hmm. And I do think he's going to be one of the guys. We're definitely going to keep an eye out on him, because he is very strong dude. He's been posting, because I've seen a couple of his deadlift clips, not just the 476 that he did, but I've seen him deadlifting before. You can tell he's getting ready for something, and he wants that record, because I think he blatantly calls out Thor, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. So. And he tagged Eddie in it too. Just, I guess it's kind of a nod to Eddie being the one setting that 500 kilogram bar in the first place. But
yeah,
the one specifically called out was Thor, saying he's coming for him. Okay. Yeah. I'm sure the guy can do it. He's putting up good numbers.
Yeah,
it looks like he may have actually reversed. He may have reversed that. Yeah, he removed the tag to Eddie and Thor and changed his description. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, no, there it is. Okay, I have to scroll down. Yeah, because it was kind of contextually weird, because it looked like he just tagged Eddie, but he was he called Thor's magic weights, which was weird. But yeah, it looks like he. I don't know if he can. 476 is not enough to convince me that someone can pull 505. But I
think right now he's just showing the progress that he's training to get there, but not, being ballsy and saying he can do it like how Thor was saying he could do 520 when he can only do 5.
What was Eddie's jump?
Eddie, oh god, it was what, 465 to 500, I think, something like that.
I can't remember Eddie's jump myself.
It was pretty big. It was like a
462. It looks like.
Okay.
So 462 jump to 500. He's already pulling, what was that, 476? So that's a smaller jump for him to get 505 than was for Eddie to get 500.
Yeah.
And how far apart was that? I'm just
one in a year or two.
Yeah, I'd say it was about a year, because it was 2015 that he approached Colin Bryce about putting on the event, and then 2016 is when he pulled it.
Yeah, so the timeline sort of lines up for after his 476 to go in about a year for the 505.
Yeah,
I was expecting some other people first, but he looks like right now the most promising.
Or Ivan Makarov, the other guy, he's still training for it too. But he hasn't really posted anything about that in a while. So
he's been focused on. I think he was doing log lift, and then you got Rauno Heinla, who straight up said, "I'm going after that, world record deadlift. He wants the heaviest max deadlift, because he's already pulled." I actually was watching that the other day. He pulled an 18, one of the silver dollar, an 18-inch deadlift. I think he pulled 500. Did he pull 500 kilogram with that? He pulled 500 there with an 18-inch silver dollar deadlift. I think it was 500. I know
Adam Bishop is currently chasing the silver dollar deadlift world record and pulled 540 on her. That
540 kilograms?
Something like that, yeah. Can't remember what it was.
Okay, what's the height of the bar on that lift?
18-inch.
Yeah, it's 16 or 18, something like that. And then I'm pretty sure that Yeah, Iranian guy. I just botched his name here. Peiman. He did a 18-inch raised deadlift at 540. I think his like strength and power. His video showed that as well. And it's like that's pretty good for an 18-inch raised deadlift. Honestly, 540.
Well, yeah.
Looks like.
Now, I wonder if this is going to affect Thor Eddie's hype a little bit, because it was sort of like the two best deadlifters in history are going at it in a boxing match, and if he breaks it in like 6 months, and then Rauno like enters backs and breaks it in like a year from now, then they'll be like, much farther down the deadlift list and kind of out of people's minds a little bit more. So it's gonna be interesting to see.
The only one who's going to lose out on that, and it's shitty to say it, but it's true, is going to be Thor. Without Eddie pulling 500, Thor would have never went for 501. Without Thor ever going for 501. So it all goes down to that 500. Eddie was the first to do 500. He knew he was pretty much cemented in history for being the first guy to pull 500 kilograms. So Eddie won't get as lost as like Thor's 501 will. That's why Thor needed to do the 505, 510s. He needed to take the record and add actual weight to it.
Yep.
Not 1 kilogram.
That Adam Bishop thing, he did a 545 for a silver dollar deadlift.
So I wonder what the world record is in the silver dollar then.
It's lower than that because he said world record. It's either 545 or somewhere in there because it's 1,200 pounds. So,
but is a silver dollar deadlift the kind of thing that you even really have an official record? Because like there's so many variations in that like
because like Eddie Hall did that variation with that thing full of books. Like it's such a strange record.
It's what Big Z calls just like a circus lift, and there's not really like official records for circus lifts.
It's more showmanship than anything, which is fine because a lot of strongman is showmanship and doing cool stuff. I mean, like bending a metal bar around your head, lifting an oven, stuff like that.
Well, I guess everything's kind of a circus lift until it gets popular enough. And then whoever made it super popular, they'll just copy paste how they did it till the end of time.
Yeah. No, the silver dollar deadlift has been around for a long time, though. That's that's a historic strongman. It is a circus lift, but it's historically strongman.
Yeah, but the way it's been done has changed. Like, at first it wasn't really with silver dollars, then Eddie did with the books, and Adam's doing with that new setup where it takes, the plates and puts them at horizontal stack like that instead
it's still in a box like it was in silver dollar.
Like if you look at like for example, like Atlas stones are created for this reason, to standardize like lifting stones. Logs have been standardized. Once a lift hits a critical point, it loses its variations and it becomes this is the lift, and maybe one or two more silver dollar records, and it might be like this is the established thing, and it's just a box, and you actually put weights in it. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see.
I know Giants Live has been doing that for a while, though.
Yeah,
they have that in some comps over there, and so I don't. It is a circus lift, but I wouldn't like this. I would say it's a legit record and a legit lift.
Yeah,
it's just more circusy than
standard strong.
A standard a standard barbell deadlift or standard strongman deadlift. But then you got things like car deadlift. If you want, we can talk. I can talk about deadlift all the time, but like car deadlift is also, I would call that a circusy lift. But that's a if you train strongman, you've trained in some way for car deadlift. Like I don't know,
things like that. It's more about the implement itself that you're moving instead of just
exactly
because it's almost more relatable to the common person. You're literally watching this dude pick up a car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I do trap bar deadlifts because of car deadlift preparations.
Yeah, because the way you hold the handles.
Yeah.
With everything,
I can eke out a little more on trap bar deadlift too.
Yeah, definitely. You can deadlift more from like a frame or a trap bar than you can with a regular deadlift bar.
Yeah, so when I was at my top, when I was doing a trap bar deadlift at 15, but on a normal I did 285. So.
What'd you do on a trap bar?
315 pounds, not kilograms. 315 pounds. And still being as skinny as this.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
Yeah. It's always interesting to hit your PR on a trap bar, for like the number you're working towards on a trap bar versus knowing kind of like what the weight feels like in your hands, and then you keep working towards it.
Yep, and then and then we've got the Rauno Heinla and Jerry Pritchett. They did their 400-pound rip off.
That I want all deadlifts for reps to be recorded that way for the rest of
Yeah,
time.
with the mic as close, you hear the weight smashing the
You
floor.
just
You're like,
put the mic, put
yeah.
one mic right on the floor.
No. Attach a mic to the collar.
Did you hear it or did you watch it with audio, Cody?
I did hear it with audio, but it to me it was. I didn't quite pick up on why you were so excited about it personally.
Here,
So-
let me. Every time Reinla went to put the weights down, it sounded like thunder, like a massive shock of thunder. There's like a giant boom, and I was watching it like on my like 7.1 surround sound setup on my computer, and then every time he would hit it, like the room would shake with his deadlift.
Yeah, but you're listening on a surround sound setup. We're listening to headphones. I'm pretty sure there might be a slightly different translation there.
It made the deadlift seem heavier just by having the impact of the sound. Like, sort of it's joking, but the other part's like, how do you convey to people who don't lift weights how heavy what they're doing is? And having that boom that like kicks you.
See, I did pick up on the sound, but for me that was just kind of it. I wasn't as excited as you were, Justin, but I did enjoy it because I liked hearing, like, for me it was more hearing the Rauno and Jerry, like some of the things they were saying, and like just you could tell how gassed they were. I thought that was pretty neat. I did like the better miking of it, but not for the thump.
No,
because that's yeah. But you're right. I'm gonna rewatch it now with my headphones on, and I'm gonna be like, I get it.
Here, I got it timestamped. I can send it to both guys. Just dropping it in the podcast channel. Now tell me, like, that isn't how all future deadlifts should be, like, mic'd up.
Okay.
Like, look how much cooler Rhino's deadlifts seem than Jerry's, who has no audio when his bar hits the ground.
Yeah, I'm listening to it.
That's how you do you hear what I'm talking about?
Not yet.
Oh, they haven't started lifting yet, or
no?
I had to rewind.
You say you time stamped it when they were done lifting.
oh, okay. Oh,
okay. I hear the massive amount of difference. Jerry is like, dink, and then Rano's just
yeah.
it's like they added reverb to it. It's just echoing around the place he was lifting in.
And if you're in the gym and someone's pulling like big numbers, that's what it sounds like in the entire gym.
Yes. So okay, I just listened to it with the headphones on. Justin, I now 100% get it. It definitely sounds cooler with the headphones on than it did on my TV.
I was gonna say,
sounded
on
like
my TV, I was like, on my TV, it's like, oh, okay, it's the sound of weights dropping. Then I listen to it there, I'm like,
whenever it's in your
it's really hard to convey how heavy what they're doing is, and I've never really saw a good way to do it. But watching that deadlift, I'm like, they need to do this for all strongman and powerlifting. Mic up where the implement hits the platform. Ground. Same thing with the deadlift, or same thing with like a bench press. Have a mic right next to like where the bar hits, so you can hear like the creaking and all like the bar bending from it coming off, and then you hear the big slam at the end. Because I mean, in a gym, that's what you hear the loudest is when people racking, unracking, or when you hear the boom, and you can turn on like what like Mongoloid just deadlifted whatever that noise was in the back.
Mongoloid.
Me and my friend Nom, I was deadlifting. I think he was coaching at the time, but him and I were sitting there kind of bullshitting. But I was deadlifting, and it was a heavy deadlift day for me. And literally, there was a group of people that came in the free weight room just to see what we were pulling because they seen that Nom was there, and they were expecting it to be my friend Nom. And then they come in, and they see my big ass sitting there pulling it, and he was like, "Yeah, we heard the thump outside the gym as we were walking in. We couldn't see who was doing it. We thought it was you, Nom." And Nom was like, "No, man, that's my man Jackson." Like,
Nom's a big son of a gun.
Nom's a monster.
He's insane.
Yeah. I really hope someone else noticed, like someone at Worlds or Giants Live or World's Ultimate Strongman picked up on that because yeah, that if I ever am filming a strongman competition, I will be putting a mic wherever the thing hits the ground because that's just beautiful.
It was. You know what? I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we do our Embrace the Weight Strongman contest, Justin, we will mic up the platform.
And then
Get it sponsored by Rain.
Raid Shadow Legends, catch the raid.
I said Rain. Come on.
Oh.
Do you not see what I'm holding?
Oh, I was looking at the
Strongman, sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
dude. They sponsor anything. Like, just check your inbox. Eventually, they'll be like, "Hey, do you want like $1,000 per game for 30 seconds? I'll do it."
Yeah, dude, they
I'll
offered
pour myself out for $1,000. That's
Herman Lee from Dragon Force got an offer from them for $1 million freaking dollars.
yeah, but he's the lead guitarist for Dragon Force.
He said no though because he thinks it's kind of gambling because of the microtransactions. But I'd rather be sponsored by Rain anyway.
Yeah, I think Thor's got that pretty much on lockdown.
Well,
I also think he's
I want to have
physically
the
addicted to them.
So am I.
Because like you see
I
some
think.
people rep a brand and it will be the same drink there for like weeks, and they've never actually opened it. Or Thor, if you watch like anything from him, if it takes like a video that takes place across several hours, his color of his can will change like 9 times.
Yep.
He's
I don't know how that dude can drink so many of those in one day. I can drink 2 and that's it.
He's a giant human. I mean,
20 years of
help.
adapting to pre-workouts every day.
Sure, I've got a friend who is trying to find a pre-workout that works for him because they work for like 2 days and then they don't work. So it's like,
don't do any pre-workouts for a month and then they'll all work again for you.
Nope, he's done that and that doesn't work.
I would recommend
I just
a pre-workout. I'm trying. I got samples sent to me.
Oh, that Berserker stuff.
No, Berserker's a clothing line. I wish they would send me free stuff. I love them. Berserker, love you.
Berserker's cool. I love their Instagram.
They're phenomenal. It's Norse Labs.
Supplement. Norse Labs. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you saw they got those little powder packets. Yeah, how is that?
Very good. It works. I actually was talking to the guys at that own the company.
Oh, okay.
And I had all these big plans because I wanted to use it. I was excited to use my last sample for stones, and I tweaked my back, so I haven't got to use my stones yet because I do stones at the end of my workout on deadlift day. So if there's any time where a pre-workout's going to shine, it's going to be stones, how do you feel picking up heavy-ass stones and putting them on a platform after you've deadlifted and worked out, had a heavy session there. So I was really looking forward to it, but then I tweaked my back and couldn't give it a test, and I won't take it. And I won't use pre-workout if I'm not working out because that seems why put that much shit in your body to sit around at home.
Yeah, I know my buddy is he's about to try Total War by Redcom 1, which he finishes up with other stuff. No, that's another pretty powerful one. Which, speaking of Redcom 1, Ryan Shaw left Redcom 1. Now we have Evolution Athletics.
Yeah. Oh, but really quick before we jump onto that. So who are you guys expecting to win?
Rauno.
Rauno?
Yeah, I was definitely expecting Rauno. I love Jerry, but Rauno's just that little much more.
I love Jerry Pritchett too, and I think if it was a max, or if it was maybe I would say a max, I think Jerry Pritchett could probably win. Or a slightly lighter weight, I would take Pritchett over Rauno, not because of any much strength difference. I just think stamina at that point, or fitness.
Yeah, that is like a thing that comes into play is just how
long can you go, basically.
But the interesting thing is the 1 rep max calculator puts his 1 rep max at like 436 kilograms.
We know that's not true.
He's lifted more in competition, but is he on the decline?
Who, Rauno or Pritchett?
Pritchett, I would say, does this mean that Pritchett's kind of officially on the decline? Because if you look at his previous 1 rep max, he should have hit this for 6, especially there being nothing before or after.
Well, that's what Big Law said too. Honestly, I think with Pritchett, because he even mentioned his hamstring after it was done. So I would be willing to bet his hamstring might be bad. He might have just a genuine, like a bad hamstring now.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure his hamstring was affecting him at this year's Arnold Classic too. Like he had a little bit of an issue going on with that as well. So I think he might have that going. If you got a bad hamstring, that's going to affect your deadlift a lot.
How old is he now, Pritchett?
30.
I don't know.
Jersey 39, 36,
something like that. He's close to 40 years.
Late 30s.
Because he's been deadlifting for very heavy for a very, very long time.
Yeah. That's like his thing.
Oh, yeah, he's 40 now.
Oh,
no,
shit.
he's 37.
Oh, he's 37? Wait, he was born in 1980, unless this is wrong.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I'm just looking at the wrong thing.
Oh, age 30. Yeah, you saw the thing that said age 37, but I think that article was written 3 years ago.
That might be what I was looking at, yeah. But whatever. He's about right in that master's age, too. But yeah, whenever I think Jerry Pritchett, I immediately think deadlift because that's just what he's known for.
Well, it's his event, yeah. He's a great deadlifter.
Yeah.
I think he's finally on decline. He's no longer in the top 3 deadlifters. He's only in like the top 8.
Only the top 8.
Only out of millions of people in the world.
He's still better than Kiliskowski at deadlift.
Because it is weird when you hear people say that certain people should throw in the towel because they decline, and it's just like, yeah, they're no longer top 3, they're only top like 6 or top 8. They should just throw in the towel and give up. It's like,
yeah, because they're the top 10 best people in the world. They should just throw in the towel. Yeah, sure, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I love when people say that too. It's like, huh?
Yeah, that's the Brian Shaw one was one that I don't want to see him hanging up, but I think I want to see how he does at Worlds this year before I make a final decision.
Everything depends on Worlds this year for Brian Shaw's entire future.
Yeah, well, I mean, his competitive.
Well, I mean, is he going to go for another Worlds? Is he going to go for 6? Or is he going to? Because look, if he gets second place, he might, or if he finishes podium, which is a really good chance, because I think he's only not ever done that twice in the last 20 years. But if he doesn't finish podium, he has so much side stuff going on, and he's making so much money, and he can do so much up in strongman in other ways. But if he makes podium and doesn't win, maybe he's like, I still want to get 5 and I want to tie for most ever. And if he wins, he might be like, I want to get 6 and win most ever. Mm-hmm. So that could definitely change the next 4 or 5 years in Brian's immediate vision, depending on how he does it this Worlds. Or no, Brian, he might just be 50, 60 out there still like in Worlds.
He could be the next Mark Felix.
Well, I think Mark Felix, he could be. I mean, Brian Shaw's very strict about everything. Honestly, I think our very next Mark Felix would have been Thor. If Thor wouldn't be done.
Yeah, that's the thing about Thor is I always thought Thor was like Brian, where he put on the weight in a much healthier way. Because Eddie's like the polar opposite, right? Eddie got a lot of weight, a lot of strength really fast and had to like get off when he was going to die. Thor, I thought, was the same way, where he had like it put on in a way that he could hold it for years on end. But the fact that he got that 501 and got out makes me think maybe he looked like he was in better condition. Maybe he looked like he could hold the weight longer like a Brian Shaw, but maybe he was actually closer to like an Eddie where he needed to just get it off.
Yeah, because I remember, I can't remember if it was one of his Twitch streams or something, but I remember Thor saying something like a couple of days before his deadlift that being that heavy was really, really taking a toll on him. So I think it was kind of those things where he can really easily put on the weight, because I noticed Thor, he can barely easily change his weight, but that's the heaviest I've ever been. I think that was just a little bit past his limit in there.
Because it seems like Big Z and Brian are pretty much in a category of their own for holding that much weight for that long. Even Bill Kazmaier didn't hold it for that long.
No.
So I really thought Thor was going to be like the next Brian Shaw, Big Z that could just hold that weight. But maybe just the money was too good in other places for it to make any kind of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that. I 100% think that.
Well, I was going to say, compared to the fact that he gets to box Eddie Hall for a 7-figure contract, obviously the money's better than a strong offer.
Yeah, because it's like, it'd be interesting to say, like, because I still think that's the weirdest thing ever, because the deadlift and a lot of people are really good at deadlift. It works like this. The strongest person is the person that can lift the most weight off the ground. And the deadlift is lifting the most weight you physically can off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
then boxing is all about who is the lightest and fastest and quickest and has the best technique. Arguably,
It's
if
more
you're
about
in
endurance than any of
well,
that.
endurance and stamina,
Yeah.
all things that are the opposite of being like 1 rep max strength.
Yeah, right.
So they're settling the who is the strongest with arguably whoever's the weakest. Whoever can pull the least deadlift come Boxing Day probably is going to win. Because that
It's a
means they're in a better
combination of that.
condition and spot.
It's a combination of that and whoever takes it the most serious. And right
Yeah.
now, Eddie's taking it more serious because
But it's a
Thor's doing half
marathon.
boxing, and Thor's still also training to get his 10th Iceland Strongest Man record. So he's not quite as laser focused as Eddie.
Yeah. It's just like weird to be mentally. It's like, let's settle who's the strongest by who can get the weakest in a year and a half.
Yeah, right. It's like, okay. Well, I would have
yeah.
expected that, but
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if it's who is the strongest. I think it's just genuinely like I think they both want to punch each other.
yeah. But I feel like we could get a little carried on to that. Might be something for a different episode. We still got to hit that evolution athletics point.
Yeah. Brian, how long was he with Repcon 1? Like, as long as I can remember.
A long time. He was like their poster boy for strongman.
Yeah.
He was with them for quite a while. I remember for a little while, he's even working on making a mass gainer with them. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, if they're still going to release it.
I wouldn't be surprised because he said he was working on supplements and other stuff as well.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be surprised if Repcon 1 is going to make Brian's line. Because when he left from them,
and then he puts his own branding on it. Yeah.
Because when he left from them, they made a big post about it as well. Be like, yeah, we wish him the best of luck. We've been talking about this with him for a while. He's going to pursue his own things. It was a great partnership for both of us. And Brian said some similar stuff about, it was a great business relationship for a long time. So
yeah, there's that post where they announced that Martins was on the team, and a bunch of people in the comments were asking about it. They said that. So it's like, it's a good thing there's no bad blood there. Brian's he's just trying to expand his brand as much as possible.
Yeah. That's actually a good point. I didn't even think of that. That Redcon's, Brian supplements are probably going to be produced at least coming out of the same factory that Redcon comes out of.
And they just slap the Evolution or whatever label on it. Yeah.
Yep. And because Repcon's trying to make the best thing for the most amount of people. If you look at like Brian's store, like especially look at his belt he made, he's basically doing the best thing for him. And then if you want it, you can get exactly what he's doing for himself kind of situation.
I don't know about that. His belt belt's pretty incredible.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to buy it. Like, it was only available for 5 minutes, so I missed my window. Well, I mean, it's like he built that belt for him. And then he's like, this is great for me. This is probably also great for you. So I'm wondering if all of his lines and stuff are going to be more tailored towards, old, like super heavyweights. Here's like this. And then, and Repcon's more of a everybody kind of thing.
It could be, because even I know they were saying about the sizes that they offer, and Shaw's strength has always been that way. He's always been like, we go up to I think a 5 or 6X.
Yeah, but they go down to as far as you need, because Brian's got kids, his wife is into fitness too, so it's about still trying to offer everything, which is cool. Because I remember with Shaw's strength, there wasn't always quite as much, but it looks like the Evolution, they're really branching out and trying to just, if anyone needs gear, you can get it from Evolution. Kind of seems like the direction too.
The Evolution will be getting lots of my money.
They're gonna get some of mine too. as soon as I was
gonna say, if they come out with a good mass gainer, they're gonna be taking a lot of my money, because I need the calories, and I can't eat a lot of food. So
you can't eat a lot of food, or
no, I have digestive issues, so it's really hard to eat a lot of food.
Okay.
So mass gainers,
but you can drink a lot of liquids
as long as there's no milk in it.
Yeah, fair
so
enough.
I just use almond milk instead, because protein shakes taste like garbage.
I like mine. But I got a Ninja blender.
You're weird.
Well, here's the thing. I have a Ninja blender, right? And before, when I just used to put in a shaker cup, I had to mix it with milk or something else, like for it to actually taste good. But when you properly blend it, it tastes way better. Like just a universal thing across all powders.
That does bring up a point that I remember seeing when Brian Shaw was doing that video when they were testing those mass gainer samples. He prefers to make his in a blender with water and ice. all of his shakes.
The ice gives it some texture.
The texture, and I think the one thing I've also noticed, even with how cold my water is when I make it, the powder warms it up so much, and I think that could also be part of the problem. I taste so crappy.
See, I've tried a bunch of them. The best way I can steadily drink whey protein is I take coffee, ice, and vanilla whey protein, and I mix it that way. It tastes great that way. However,
Coffee, huh?
yeah. Man,
I like coffee.
Try it. If you have vanilla, do it with coffee and ice in a blender, and it will change your world.
Well, I don't have.
I've
got vanilla. I got vanilla ice cream protein, and I've got 4 different bags of Black Rifle.
I bet it would taste amazing.
But it's
amazing.
all really dark roast.
It would be amazing. I drink dark roast too. It will be good. Take my word for it. It'll be good.
With my digestive problems, if I drink light roast, it tears up my stomach lining acidity. So dark roast, yay. Which is fine, because dark roast tastes better.
I'm more of a medium roast guy, but I do dark roast for my protein shakes, actually, just because
I just like not feeling like I'm gonna die, so that's why I don't think of dark roast.
I mean, that's always a positive. I would, but yeah, seriously, take coffee and mix it with coffee.
Take coffee and mix it with coffee. Sounds like a great idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, but mix the protein with coffee.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a really good idea, because I could see, especially with the vanilla, because I like putting vanilla creamer.
See, and then instead of putting it, well, I mean, you want the calories, but why not get the calories and the protein and less sugars and the caffeine all in one? Fucking hero right here.
That's why I say do that instead of eating breakfast and having a cup of coffee in the morning.
Well, I mean, you should still eat breakfast if you're trying to gain weight. I mean, I would eat and drink one of the coffee protein shakes.
Cook my rice in the protein shake. There we go. That's a great way to gain.
just rice and whey protein and coffee. Just have at it, man.
Just all day long. Just make sure that you're munching on it. Just getting.
Yep.
Because I'm pretty sure no matter how fast your metabolism is, if you hit like 6,000 calories, you're going to get real fat real fast.
Yeah. But now, one thing I've been wanting to try, because I know a lot of people do, is to mix in a small scoop of whey protein with oatmeal, and I like having it for breakfast.
I've tried that. I just hate whey protein so much that it is the only thing I've found is coffee that makes it so like this tastes good, and I get excited to drink it. But
I've just done water for the last like 2 years. Just 1 scoop into water and blend it, and then it tastes good enough, and I just drink it down.
Yeah, my least favorite thing about actual mass gainers that have super high calories, don't want you to use like that, like fill up a shaker with that much, and it feels like a gut bomb, and you're just sitting there on the couch like, yep, I can't move for the next. That's one.
What's in mass gainers is different from regular protein? Because I've never ever looked at a mass gainer. That's never been an issue.
Mass gainer, really, it's probably just a lot more carbs, calories. Because I mean, the one I have now is 1,340 calories per serving.
Oh Jesus!
So, but when I drink it, I feel like I'm just like, if I could just like drop in the water, I'd sink like a rock. This is what my stomach feels like. It's like, yep, time to try something different. Because that is.
Yeah, I mean,
I really had to get one of those extra big blender bottles just to be able to fit the damn thing in one container.
Oh man.
It'd be really. I was looking at the athletic store. He doesn't have anything like straps or any like specific strongman equipment yet.
Not yet. I think he'll get there.
Oh, he'll definitely get there. I'm just wondering when he's going to.
It's a very young company, so yeah, I know he's definitely working on a lot more drops and stuff. So it'll be really cool to see what they come up with.
He has the stuff that he probably doesn't really care about, to be honest. Because if you look at it right now, it's like hats, shirts, and like just a lot of the kind of stuff that it's really hard to screw up. And if you look at stuff that he's really passionate about, he has one item, which is the belt. So I wonder if the reason he doesn't have like wrist wraps and stuff like that is because he doesn't just want to get his name on someone else's. He's very specific.
Yeah, he talks about that in videos all the time. Like it's taking, like I'm pretty sure he used to have like sleeves and stuff up, but
oh no, he still has sleeves. He has like sleeves, but like
he has the stone sleeves on Shaw Strength still, I believe.
Although, yeah, I was gonna say I remember when I was it was that manhood stone in the Arnold Classic. I can't remember who it was, but there was one guy who was wearing the Shaw strength. Those sleeves. I'm like, hey,
A lot of the guys wear his stone sleeve.
they're very good
Oh, yeah.
sleeves.
So going to
But I mean,
Worlds,
Brian Shaw is the old king of the stone. So what do you expect?
for shits and giggles, going to Worlds this year, and I'm going to take my Brian shirt and my Eddie shirt and get Brian to sign Eddie's and Eddie's to sign Brian's, and just to see what they write. I figure it'd be fun.
You know, Eddie's probably going to write something about Brian being fat on his shirt. You just know already. Either being fat or being late.
And you're going to Worlds this year?
It's in Florida. Yeah, it's like 12-hour drive.
Stone throw from you, yeah.
Yeah,
I'd love to go to a Worlds, but yeah,
I'm only a little bit jealous, Justin.
a little bit.
Oh, dude, yeah. You know how much it costs right now to fly? It's like it would be. I wish it was going on right now because it'd be like $38 to fly there
Jesus Christ.
from where I live.
You could buy your ticket now.
That's
That might be anything to look into.
Because the farther out you buy your ticket, the cheaper the price.
You know what? I'm gonna mark that down to look at that because I was seeing flights as low as $38 because I was looking at buying this vehicle in Florida. And I'm like, how much is it to fly down there? Oh, okay. So it's $2,500 cheaper as long as I buy a $38 plane ticket. All right.
Yeah, it's the price of a good steak meal. All right.
A good, yeah. At
Well,
first I thought you were talking about the $2,500. I'm like, what kind of steaks do you eat? Then I'm like, oh, he's talking about the 38. Okay.
I'm gonna say, but then again, I don't, go to restaurants for steaks because I make better steaks.
Yeah. Basically, I'm pretty sure every strongman specific product Brian releases, I'll be buying. I'm expecting to see he'll probably have straps. He's probably going to eventually do a hard belt. He's probably going to have his own tacky for sure. And
yeah, definitely.
I will have his
not allowed to
entire
use
line.
tacky yet.
Yeah.
I will definitely have his belt. I'm for sure going to have his belt. I've actually been looking at different wrist straps and knee wraps.
You don't have figure eights yet for wrist. Oh, you're on wrist wraps, not.
Yeah, I'm talking
Yeah.
wraps.
Yeah, wraps, not straps.
I don't know that I want figure eights. I just don't know what benefit I can get from figure eights that I don't get from my normal straps.
I used those the other day actually for the first time, and
you sell out. Did you pull your 500 double overhand?
No, I actually did my full everything normal. I did my normal rep set, everything I was supposed to do, and then I just put 300 on the bar just to mess around with these figure eights somebody had, and it's a world of difference. You're just resting your fingertips on the bar. You're not holding it at all. The thing that
you're pulling an Alexei Novikov.
Yeah, and the thing I messed up though is I don't use straps ever. So when I want the bar not to be there, I just open my hands and it's not there. So in habit is go to the top and then it well, figure eight straps, you go down with the bar. So when I dropped it the first time, I went down. That carried my ass right to the ground.
Well, see, that's your fault for not controlling the weight going down. You have to control going down. How can you count it as a deadlift if you're not the one putting it on the ground?
I would say Eddie Hall lost the world record to dropping the weight.
Yeah, I just something I wasn't thinking about with the figure eights. I just
See, my straps you just let go and then whoop.
Yeah, and
right off.
Yeah,
I don't like.
I think for straps, I think normal straps have a little bit more in the weight. I think it might be why more people use those.
I like it because of the grip.
Because I'd rather not be gassed out at the top of the lift and you get dropped to the ground and front flipped over the.
Well, I think it's something that only messes with
you. That happen.
Yeah, Larry had that with some figure eights, but I feel like it's something
Larry
that happens
every time he does a
day or two, and then you'll get used to not eating shit when you set the bar down with figure eight straps.
So Larry almost always falls over, but I like to think it's because he's got those tiny calves and big upper body.
He's one of the few human beings on the planet I've seen bust a strap. It was like
Matoush busted that strap this year at Arnold Classic. I was like, oh, okay.
I didn't even know they could break until I seen Kiskowski break.
I could have looked at him like, did that just happen?
I think Larry's trying to one-hand deadlift like 600 pounds or something, and it just exploded off his hand.
Why?
Because he's Larry Wheels.
Sorry, I was
does what
wrong.
he
He was
wants.
trying to deadlift 675 pounds with one arm.
Why?
Just why?
I mean, I understand Larry likes to show off because he's strong as hell, but damn.
Yeah.
I'll say, because assuming that you can deadlift 675 with one hand would technically mean that you could deadlift 1,300 with two hands. And
Not necessarily. So I thought about that, right? And how that's just it's still in your back and legs to do the deadlift.
Oh
right?
yeah, never mind. I'm stupid.
And
I
especially
see
if
what
you're
you're saying
using
now.
a strap, all it is can you just stabilize the weight for the most part? Because if it's being held on by a strap, it's still your same legs and back. You're just in a slightly different position. And it's just not
it's
quite
a
as
shifted
stable.
center of gravity. Yeah.
And
Never mind,
even
I'm
if you're
dumb.
not using straps, it's still your bottleneck. If your bottleneck is your grip, it would be half. If your bottleneck is your back or legs, it would be slightly over half.
See, I don't.
It's still just ridiculous to think it was going to try and pull 675.
No, yeah, no, it's
so
beyond.
goofy.
It's beyond.
I think-
like crazy.
Because we talked about it, one-handed deadlift or something the one time, and I never tried it. And then the other day I did 175 with one hand.
I probably felt super easy for you.
Did.
Because I do 135 one hand every once in a while just for fun, just like rep it a couple times. So I'm pretty sure you could I would not be surprised if you could do it with like 315 plus if you actually tried.
If I tried to do one-handed deadlifts.
If you just try one day and you're like, I'm gonna lift as much as I can with one hand, I would not be surprised if you hit like 315 on that.
It would be interesting. Someday I'll try it. Maybe.
It'd be a spectacle, that's for sure.
It's one of those.
See how much Nom can one hand deadlift?
It's one of those showing off things that like you have in the back of your mind, like what's the most I can one hand clean and press from the ground, and what's the most I can one hand deadlift? Just a flex on people. That's all that exists for.
I've never done any form of Olympic weightlifting, so I have absolutely no way of.
I used to do it, and I don't do it.
I mean,
anymore.
you clean and press logs all the time. I know it's a different technique, but
totally different. But yeah, I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna stop running the risk of dropping a few hundred pounds on top of my head. So powerlifting it is.
Do you clean and press axle bars and your regular bar, or do you only clean and press log?
I mean, I don't have an axle bar. If I had an axle bar, I would clean and press it.
What about just your regular bar?
Normal. Well, for my setup now, I have to do it I used to clean and press it, but now with my setup in my basement, I can't. I have to actually use, because I can only overhead press in one section in my basement. Yeah. It's not a high enough ceiling, so I have to get between my rafters in my basement, and I can't even put 45s on it because it would be too high. So my log works great because I can get 35s on my log, and I can get it the whole way up. So it works really well for that. So.
When I used to do Olympic stuff, I actually used to do all my cleaning and pressing with the deadlift bar.
Yeah, I'm still not 100. I still think you can't tell the difference in a bar until you put at least like 315 minimum, and where you can really feel the difference. I feel like it's around 500.
I was going to say it didn't really matter because I mean my clean was 100 pounds. That's not going to move the bar.
See, I've done.
I haven't been able to tell a difference in any bar I've ever used, and
because I was using bumper plates, so I had these giant pieces wherever they're that big for the 45, so it was shifted out, so it was really weird lift doing it like that.
See, I even just recently I squatted when I was on vacation. I found a gym, and I squatted. It was light, so I was squatting 385 for reps, and the bar was actually really whippy, and it wasn't a deadlift bar, but it was just a whippy ass bar. It looked cool because it was only 385, and it looked like I was pushing 500 pounds. But
yeah, right.
it was really whippy because I noticed when I was unracking it, because I had to do high bar, and everything. It was an awful experience for me.
Sounds like
bar life.
Sounds like it was just one of those bars made out of the finest Chinesium.
Yep.
It was weird. I mean, he had like now the deadlift. He had a Rogue deadlift bar over on his deadlift platform, but the bars in the rack was
Just shoddy.
It was whippy because 385 shouldn't make that thing.
No.
Yeah. So I've never really felt a bar whip much at all.
Obviously,
I really can't tell the difference between like the bars when I'm using them. So I really don't care what bar I'm benching with, what bar I'm pressing with, what bar I'm deadlifting with. The only difference is it seems like benching bars have a little bit more like aggressive knurling.
I don't know about that. Deadlift bars are nasty knurling.
Yeah, those.
Have you ever used a deadlift bar?
Oh yeah, I've used we have at the gym I'm using. They have a proper like stiff deadlift bar that I always use.
A stiff bar, but not the whippy one.
Not the whippy.
Not like a.
Yeah,
not like
deadlift bars are meant to be whippy.
I have not used a Rogue bar yet.
Well, it's not just Rogue. A deadlift bar itself.
Yeah.
That's why they say powerlifting. They say about pulling the slack out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I hate them because I think they're harder. Everyone else is like they're easier. I'm like, I don't think.
Well, I remember that. So all the bars I've used have just been like whatever the gyms I guess found the cheapest and most available. So there's been no name brands. So I kind of want to try out some Rogue bars just so I can see what other people are talking about, because like Rogue has a standard version of like every common bar people use. So it'd be interesting to get a baseline of this is what it's supposed to be like to see if they're Because right now to me they're all just like whatever.
Any deadlift bar is going to have that whip, though, Justin.
Yeah. And plus, the other thing I've seen is like, most of your standard, your squat bench bars, those are going to weigh 45, but deadlift bars usually weigh around 50s. These weigh a little bit more because they're a little sturdier because they put much weight on deadlifts. But yeah, deadlifts have some gnarly knurling. Why do you think those people's shins always get ripped apart? Because that is impressive.
Oh yeah, and just how much weight you're dragging up your shins.
Yeah, exactly. You're just.
Oh yeah, my shins. I wear high socks just to keep blood off the bar.
Yeah, I was gonna say Rob Kearney. He's got the right move wearing those crazy tights because that'll just slide right up. I don't have to worry about ripping his skin off.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably actually that's probably a really big benefit because his entire leg is like all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
but we know he doesn't do it
easier.
for that. He does it because he's Rob Kearney and he's.
I mean, it probably doesn't hurt. Like,
no, definitely not.
He probably did it once as a joke and then was like,
"Wait,
you know what?
This works."
And then people are like, "Why are you wearing like slicks tights?" And he's like, "Oh, it's my brand."
Fair,
not because I can hitch better than you can.
Too.
Yeah,
because the tights are squeezing a little bit harder.
Because think about Cardi, he has perfect technique and execution in everything. So
I would say, watching him do anything like yoke or farmer's walk, he is like.
So I have a hard time believing the tights are purely cosmetic and don't play into the rest of how everything he does is perfectly optimized.
He just chooses tights that are cosmetic.
His yoke walks are super smooth, and I guarantee those tights have something to do with that because like you're doing that.
Exactly. Plus, I mean, the fact that like no one takes smaller, faster steps than Rob does. He's just zipping along.
And the entire legs
it's so fun watching him do yoke because he's just steady.
I have seriously, because of Rob Kearney, I have seriously considered getting tights to work out in. And
the question is how
do it. Be our guinea pig.
Because he might actually have them like really super like compression-y, like almost like full leg knee sleeves.
You see the way those tights are hung in his legs and all that stuff.
I would not be surprised if they're basically full leg knee sleeves, and he can put regular knee sleeves on top of them because they just count as pants. And then he could be Alexa Novikov-ing like this entire thing, but like
his deadlift, he is in my opinion, Rob Kearney has perfected the art of hitching with deadlift.
Yes, he is so good at like everything mechanically.
But the hitch, but you'd think with those tights, though, if they really are really helping with friction, that hitch would be harder because, well, no, I guess not the weight.
Because you gotta slide it
sinking in.
Yeah, I was saying, plus once it's squeezed, it sinks into your thighs, so your body's kind of gripping.
I'd be really curious to see how much does friction come into play.
All right, I will find.
Yeah.
We need you to get some tights, basically, is where this is going.
Yeah.
We all just need to start wearing tights, walking to the gym, like, all right, let's give this a try.
Now, you know what? You could probably figure it out in a way without a lot of weight. It'd be an interesting experiment because you just need like one of those crane scales, and you would just need to drag a bar across your legs, then like across socks, and then across like a smooth sock, or like they would simulate tight. Because it's probably 3 different pull weights because the friction at that much like is probably going to come into play. Like, is it going to be like 40 less pounds at high weight to pull across a smooth silk rather than your skin?
I don't know. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna do it the old-fashioned way. I'm gonna get a pair of tights.
Just gonna do it and find out.
Then I'm gonna deadlift 600 pounds, and we'll see how it feels.
You got to hitch the hell out of it though, because otherwise you don't get the
You
full
want
benefit.
hitch us one other hit.
You got to start hitching when you get right above the knee, like the last full foot of hitching.
If I don't have to hitch,
then you're
why
just
would I
wearing
hitch?
tights. Then you just got to explain that to your family. Like, you just deadlift in tights now for no reason.
No, but I said the tights still show how it feels going up the shins, though. There's still that
which
experiment.
is the part.
Yeah, there's still the shins. Yeah.
Which to me is still, if it would help the deadlift bar, especially a gnarly asshole deadlift bar.
One? Yeah.
Not
tights plus high socks.
I guess there's a good way to find out, because I'm pretty sure other people have thought about this, especially Novikov.
I'm sure.
He wears tights.
Novikov is the Bill Belichick of strongman. The letter of the rules, not the spirit of the rules. So,
oh my god!
If there's an advantage to be had by the rules, then he probably has it. And if he's wearing tights, there's a reason he's wearing tights. There's a reason Rob's wearing tights, and I would not be surprised if we start seeing everyone just wear tights.
The Bill Belichick of strongman, Jesus Christ!
Oh god, that is like the best description of Alexei Novikov in the world.
2019 World Strongest Man deadlift.
Listen. He technically, as everyone has told me, was within the.
I would say if it wasn't, Colin would have been like, "Hey, you can't do that." Or actually, no, Colin's not head reffing anymore. That'd be Magnet.
No, I just have a feeling that like the difference from pre-Novikov to post-Novikov is going to be a tripling in the thickness of the rule book. Because like every time he does an event, they're like, "Well, what you did was legal, but next year
it will not be." Oh my god, yeah, that's. End result is I still need to buy tights and figure this out.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting, because I really now think if Alexei does it and Rob does it, there's a definite advantage, and I don't know if everyone's super public about when they've realized that they get a slight advantage on everybody else, because why would you be?
Yeah, right.
Well,
everyone has.
It also might be the fact that Brian Shaw just thinks like it's not worth the 40 kilos or whatever advantage. He's just not going to show up to competition wearing tights. There's a certain level of manliness that a lot of them have like try to personify that just prevent them on a personal level from going to competition in tights.
See, I have no reason to not wear tights. I have a goal. I need to pull X amount of weight, and if tights gets me there, then tights get me there.
Tights and figure eights.
But then if anyone ever asks you, it's like, hey, can you deadlift like 750 pounds? You'd be like, yeah. They're like, can we see it? You're like, I have to get my tights.
No, that will be a conversation.
Well, see, I think, I can sacrifice my shins for one lift, but to build up to that one lift.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I would really want to find the answer to it.
We just all need to buy a pair of tights. Just all of us own tights and go deadlift. And I'll even, in the spirit of everything, Justin, I will even do double overhand. I will wear a belt though. I'm sorry, I have to. I have a reason for wearing a belt, but
yeah. Yeah, you think that help protect your.
Yeah. So I will wear a belt, but I'll wear hopefully my Evolution soft belt and double overhand 500 pounds in tights, and I'll dedicate it to
how many times can you rep 500? Like how many sets of 500 for one can you do?
As many as is programmed for me.
Because I'd be curious, because if you're actually to go through,
I had to do 5 singles at 475, and I've tweaked my deadlift form, and it was like butter. It was so light. I couldn't believe it. I wanted to actually throw all of my plates on my basement and see how many singles I could knock out. It was so good.
If you actually go through with it, it would be cool to see you like try it without socks, with socks, like then and hitch them all. Try it with like tights. Try it with like shorts. See if there's actually a difference on like the friction and especially the hitching. I feel like the hitching is where it would help way more.
Well, hitching is something I've actually I've only ever hitched one time. It was the first time I pulled 585 pounds, and it was a block pull, so it was just below knee, and I actually hitched it so I could feel it, and there was a weight that I felt comfortable. Well, it was the first time I ever pulled it, but I was feeling really good that day, so I actually hitched that just to see what it felt like, because even my 600 pull, I didn't hitch it. It went straight up. So I try not to hitch, but I would hitch. I could do 500 hitched just to experiment with it. Just need
because if it does come out to be a thing, that'd be a cool like little article to publish, just because everybody's looking for an advantage, and I wonder if I just really want to see every strongman wearing tights. That'd just be so funny to me. Just please let this like be an experiment that works out.
That the tights actually make a difference. It would have to be, I'd have to do it at the gym though, because they have an actual deadlift bar. Because my stiff bar wouldn't work as well.
So I guess now on to the last thing, heavily derailed, is Beast of the Bench. I actually do. I thought overall it was really good, except for the one incident. But I really liked watching all the lead ups to his to the 700-pound accident. But what did you guys' initial impression?
800 pounds.
800 pounds.
800 pounds, yeah.
You like powerlifting, Tyler, so you go first, because I'm assuming we'll have different things to say about it.
Well, I actually didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing yet, but yeah. Which,
sorry, Tyler.
surprising being the one powerlifter in the entire admin team, but yeah, just I mean, at least I saw the. But anyway, but I mean, watching the Maddox lift and all the stuff after that, I mean, there's a lot of different sides of the coin, because you do have the point that with that misload, it's sure there's human error, but at the same time, the amount of top level guys you had there and all those people that it wasn't caught, how long that was sitting on the bar is like it's
yeah.
Really
so go ahead, finish.
But yeah, it's just really rough to see that, and the fact that, all of a sudden at the very last minute, the head judge was changed to the guy who was just running the event instead, that might have been as well. The fact that the head judge, they were both sitting on the side where they weren't quite on the side where that one was misloaded, as I saw in the statement from him and the.
Yeah, I feel like the misloaded weight. I've heard some criticism where Big Lux even said everyone, I think, should have noticed. And I feel like in an event like that, no, I wouldn't have noticed. And I just don't think people are paying that close attention when there's that many plates on the bar.
Plus, to be fair, when I was first looking at the picture, it's like it all kind of blended together. I had to take a second, stop, and stare directly at each side of the bar. I'm like, oh, hey, that is misloaded. So that can have been a factor too, because all the plates the same color, they're machined plates, they all stack together, so there's almost no lines between them. So it could be hard to.
I guess though it is a world record, so it probably is worth you counting every individual plate.
So yeah.
Before the lift.
Esteem of it, yeah.
So that's the camp I'm in. That's part of the camp that I'm in. It's a world record weight. Now, I obviously hearing about it, via our Discord, everyone was talking about it, and I didn't watch it because I wasn't home at the time. But then when I watched it, looking at the bar, you could see the one side had way more plates on it. You could tell, well, not way more. You could tell the one side was definitely thicker than the other, even from the shitty angles that they had for that. I think that's just. I don't think there's any reason that many people in the room. Those guys' job who were loading the bar was to load the bar. I mean,
that is true.
Their job was load the bar. This is a shit ton of weight that a man is going to lay underneath and press. Yes, he is the best bench presser of all time, However, it's still a shit ton of weight. You don't approach an 800-pound lift in anything. You wouldn't approach an 800-pound squat not making sure everything was right. You wouldn't approach an 800-pound deadlift making sure everything was right. And a bench press, you are bringing that weight to your chest, and it's a powerlifting style, so it's got to be paused and then up. So you have to have that weight here. That's just, and then the angle that it's.
And it's never happened at Worlds or any of the like big strongman competitions. So they just have an additional layer of check. You probably have somebody load the bar, then you probably have somebody check the bar, and then you probably have the judge check the bar. So the odds of all three of them missing it are like super close to zero. But as far as that though. So here's the weird thing that's always been interesting about powerlifting and strongman, right? Strongman is like always kind of gotten more attention, and right now it gets way more money, and there's way more people that can be full-time professional strongmen and make way better living than powerlifters. But powerlifting has always been twice as popular for people to actually train than strongman, and for like internet traffic. But when it comes to like big events and top people, strongman's ahead. And this felt like powerlifting, because this was on ESPN. This was another opportunity for them to try to get into that same sort of like spectacle and show that bodybuilding and strongman puts on. And I felt like if this wouldn't have happened, like that one mistake, I feel like it would have been a pretty overall good and fun representation to maybe get it more popular and get some more guys who can make some real money at it.
Yes, I agree with that point, because I know where that point, where I heard that point also was from Nick's Strength and Power. I think it was Nick's Strength and Power. But that's a good point, and I agreed with him, and I agree with you. It could have been a shining moment for powerlifting, because powerlifting, like you said, it's always been more popular to train. It's way more approachable and way easier. That's not taking anything from powerlifting. I have friends that are powerlifters. Some hold some records, and it's a serious thing, but it's also more approachable. It's bench, squat, deadlift. It is the big three lifts that any strength program, those big three are in it.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at strongman, it's basically the same thing. You just swap out bench for overhead press, and there you go.
Yeah. And squat's not as much, but they do squat a good bit at Worlds, I believe. But it's still, the big three. You still have to train the squat, because for your Atlas stones, for your yokes, all that stuff, you need strong legs, you need a strong core. And squat is one of the best ways to do that.
But I think most of the controversy, though, is internal inside the community. I think that anyone watching on ESPN or someone who's outside of the sport probably didn't even notice how big of a mistake that was, and it probably didn't really affect them. So I'm wondering if maybe it did bring some more eyes, so more people are interested, or
because if anything, I would think it would scare people off.
Well, all they saw was a dude go to rack the bar, and then they put it back, and then they adjusted it, and then he went and almost got it right.
And he got injured, and that's not just inside the community. I think everyone who is in any form of strength sport at all, or outside of the world, maybe just getting introduced to it, has heard that he got injured. And bench press is already one of the most terrifying, in my opinion, one of the most terrifying lifts.
Yeah,
period. Because there's no escape. There's no escape from bench press. Deadlift, you drop the bar. You open your hands up, and it will fall.
Squat, you throw it off your back.
You just let it go back. Don't fight it forward. Just let it go back. Push it back with your arms.
The number one rule of bench is if you're lifting heavy, you have to have a spotter. Otherwise, just don't do it. It's too dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're Julius Maddox, you got to have like 6 spotters.
Well,
you got to have enough people to lift the weight off of you.
It's just always mind blown. Like, Julius Maddox cannot do a record bench press without a elite, like, top 100 deadlifter. Like, because they got to deadlift 800 pounds like from a really awkward angle to get him started on his bench.
Yep.
Like he's got to find like some of the best deadlifters in the world to just spot him.
You better just go. Eh.
How would you feel spotting him? Like you gotta pull 800 pounds up and control it forward over him.
Are you talking me, Tyler?
Yeah, because I don't. Yeah, I'm like, nah, that's not even imaginable. Like, just help him move, like, just move 800 pounds like that to get it into.
I'll say if I tried, all I'd be doing would be making the bar heavier because I wouldn't actually be moving it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable if someone's like, "Hey, I'm about to bench, 800 pounds. You mind spotting me?" I'd be like, "Yeah, mind."
Yeah, I was gonna say spotting someone, it has to be a weight that you think of immediately as an approachable weight. If you're immediately like, I don't know, just don't spot the person.
Yeah. 800, who is 800 pounds an approachable weight for? That's what always. Every time I watch him bench press,
apparently Julius Maddox has found those people.
Yeah, like he has a squad. You got 2 people on each side, the inside of the bar, and 2 people on the outside of the bar. And even then, you see like when he fells the rep, like they're trying with everything they can to get it back up.
Oh, they got to get it back up. Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. But it seemed like the injury was pretty superficial, though, so he should be back at it pretty soon, and we should see that 800-pound bench. And I think it might actually be one of those records that stand for decades.
Well, until he breaks it again.
Well, wherever he leaves it, I think it may be one of those 10-year records, just because, I don't know, like, he's a super bench specialist. A lot of other top powerlifters are full squat, deadlift,
they're well-rounded, yeah. Whereas Maddox is like, I'm the king of bench.
They're going for big totals, yeah.
Yeah, and I'd be interesting to see if he can maybe transition this into a big total, because even if his bench press drops to only 700 pounds, like...
Only 700?
Oh, yeah,
that's just so ridiculous to say those words.
It wouldn't take a whole lot on his squat and deadlift to put him in world record, like, total contention, because he's already, like, so far ahead on one, he can take...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but how are his other lifts? I have never seen...
I have no idea.
From what he said is he does train standard powerlifting, where he does do, like, bench, squat, deadlift.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what his squat is. Like,
yeah. I'd be really curious to see, because that's, like, I don't know what his leg drive is. Like, that's the big question. But there are videos of, like, him almost as big as he is now, like, doing, like, one of those 40-inch box jumps. So
he's super athletic,
and he has the explosive energy, which
that's a very big powerlifter thing, yeah.
Yeah, that definitely help in deadlift and squat to get that initial inertia. I don't know. I'd be curious. I kind of want to see that, but what I want to see more is him just put the bench where he wants it, and then just go into strongman.
Mm-hmm.
Because with all the pressing power he has, suddenly Mateus doesn't suddenly win every single pressing event in strongman for the next decade. When Maddox crosses the line.
But we don't know what Maddox can overhead press, though.
I mean, I'm sure it's not going to be ridiculously lower than his. Well, my bench is like what, 10%, 15% better than my max overhead press with the same weight. So if we just apply that to Julius Maddox, it's like still 720 pounds.
Well, I don't know that you can apply that to him, but because he doesn't train it.
I can't imagine it's wildly low, though. Like, it's got to be like I would feel pretty confident that it's in the upper 600s.
An overhead press
for Julius Maddox, I would feel pretty confident that his overhead press would be in the upper 600s.
So, are you saying with an axle? Or are you saying what are you saying? What?
Oh, so if he were to take a push press from the rack, I feel pretty confident that his push press from the rack would be like 670, maybe 690.
He's a strong dude, but I doubt it's that. Especially from the rack, front rack position, right? So in this realm, like chin-ish realm.
Yeah.
So same from here and push press. So it's automatically a technique. So you have to have your feet out a little bit, and they have to be angled outward, and then that dip and leg drive.
Because you're coming off of someone who could potentially bench 800 pounds. Who is way? Let's put it this way: he is way stronger than Eddie. Eddie Hall, when Eddie Hall set his axle press record, actually we can probably figure this out. Because Axel press world record. Okay, so Eddie Hall has it at 476 pounds, and Eddie Hall never was able to bench 700. I know there's different muscles, but there's a lot of overlap because Julius trains incline all the time, and incline hits a lot of the same muscles.
Well, if he so he does train incline.
He trains incline like as
I was
much
gonna
as he
say.
trains
I was scrolling
like,
through his Instagram, and every time I saw a barbell, it was either bench or incline. I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
he trains
okay.
incline as much as he trains flat.
Okay, so that's new data for me.
Yeah, because incline's a little bit more tri activation.
So we're looking at
Yes.
476 with with Eddie was like probably like a 640 pound bench because he said he was like halfway to 700 at one point. So you're at 150 pounds onto Eddie's bench. Yeah, I don't see him deadlifting. I don't see him overhead pressing under 600 pounds. Like, I really want to see him get in a strongman and smash every pressing record because he's the best presser we've ever seen. We just haven't seen him do the overhead, but like I said, he's trains incline. He's a beast. I really want him to come into strongman and just see what happens. See where the log ends up. See where dumbbells end up.
The log would be one that I'd be really interested to see him try, and the dumbbell. I think he would do well with the dumbbell overheads.
Yeah. He's got to learn techniques. It's not like he would just pick it up first time.
Especially with the log, because it's changing the grip from that to that entirely.
But he's not training strength or muscles. He's literally just training reps to train technique. It's about coming over to strongman so much, and every time I see him lift, and just like it's like watching a college player, that you really want to like see come on like into the NFL. So it's like I'm watching him in powerlifting. Like I can't wait to see what happens in strongman because he keeps talking about it.
But he also has been talking about cutting a bunch of weight too.
Yeah.
So
he is a big guy.
So he has to cut some weight.
Yeah, but another thing that I'm waiting for is because all this, like the last year or two, Larry Wheels has been trying to get into an actual strongman competition. Every time he does, he gets injured right before. So it's like, another guy who's a beast of powerlifting that I really want to see how he can do in strongman.
The thing about Larry, he doesn't really exclusively trains powerlifting. Like I've watched his YouTube. I just think that the reason Larry always hurts himself is he doesn't have those like stabilizer muscles that you use in awkward stuff for strongman because he's never doing any strongman motion. So you would never really work those stabilizers for like log or stone. Mm-hmm. And it seems like every power lifter hurts themselves on either a log or a stone.
Yep, yeah, because it was right before either last year or the year before that Larry was going to compete, and literally the day before he tore his bicep practically
on stones. Yeah,
because he's never done a fast stone run. The only thing he'd ever done was kind of pick up a stone and try it out.
And there's like these other stabilizers that help hit your biceps and stuff in a safer position.
And I think that's what it was because his bicep just kind of popped in a weird way. Like,
I think that even if someone is a beast, that they should start with really low weight for the first couple months. Because I think the thing about Larry is he's like, I can do a 400-pound stone. I can deadlift 1,000 pounds. But it's like, you have the raw strength, but if you get a little bit off your line, that one dude has that stabilizing muscle like 10 times stronger than yours. And
technique will always outdo strength.
Well, and it thinks about working just more general part of your body, but it'd be interesting to see like if Julius Maddox comes over to strongman, but then does work his stabilizers and does drop his weight for the more awkward things. Because if he tries to pick up the world record log, he's definitely gonna hurt himself.
That'd be interesting to see him do a log. I think log would be the interesting one for him.
I want to see him pen press it. That would even be happy just that. Just have him put an incline bench underneath like a log and pen press it. Just as like a tease.
Just to say like this is a neutral grip press and I did this much weight type of thing.
Oh yeah.
Because
he could probably do that 1,000 pounds. Because the neutral grip on the log for the pen press, you're starting your strongest part in incline. If he could do a flat bench complete movement for like 800, then a pen press that starts at like kind of like right at your head level. Just see him do that and just make everyone freak out. I don't know. That'd be awesome. I just want to see him come into strongman, and he won't until he gets his 800-pound bench. And so that needs to get out of the way, and then we will see all sorts of interesting battles between him and Mateus.
Yeah,
for the pressing, and then I would be interested to see him in strongman as well. I think it would be neat to see him. I will say that it would be neat to see him come over because he's kind of already he's developed a big following just being a bench presser.
And to make more money in strongman as one of the top guys that you do in powerlifting, which is weird because powerlifting is like the only thing that the top guys don't make, excluding influencers. If you're an influencer in anything, you make a ridiculous amount of money. But if you're just like a person participating, I feel like he's more a participant than influencer. What's his let me see how many he has on Instagram. But does he have that massive following? Like not like a Larry Wills or like a Steffi Cohen or anything.
Well, he's not like either one of those because he focuses more on just picking up heavy shit.
Yeah, because I'm just curious. It's like it also is smart business decision, or is it just he wants to do strongman for the?
That's another interesting thing. I just went on open powerlifting to look up Julius' totals, and he's literally never done anything but bench in a comp. He's never done a full comp.
I assume that.
Who's someone who doesn't really work on their? Brian Shaw does not really work on his Instagram.
No, he does not.
So let me see how much he has.
Yeah, I was gonna say Brian Shaw runs an Instagram like your average everyday person would, just posting whatever he wants to.
Yeah, that's not bad.
So with him, it's not as much of marketing itself; it's just people drawn because of how known the name Brian Shaw.
Because he's got 190,000 followers. So I was trying to see what. Yeah.
Brian Shaw or Julius?
Oh no, Brian Shaw has like 1.2 million. So Julius Maddox and Mateusz Kilikowski have about the same amount of followers on Instagram.
Yep.
And Mateusz Kilikowski doesn't speak English that well.
Yeah, so Eddie has 2.2 million followers. I mean, that dude loves to plaster himself on every beat.
Who's ahead, Eddie or Thor?
I don't know. I don't check Thor's.
Because they compete in everything.
So Eddie's 2.2, and Thor is, if I can see Thor right, Thor is 3.2. So Thor is a whole million ahead of Eddie.
That's expected though, because there's
Game of Thrones. That's why Thor has all those followers.
Yeah.
So out of just pure strongman, Eddie has them.
Yeah, I mean Thor. Yeah, I can't say that. I don't know. He had such a small part in Game of Thrones. I don't know how many people hunted him out and subbed him just because he's in Game.
Well, he also makes more headlines because he was in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he does get more.
I would say every headline that you see with Thor usually says half Thor, the Mountain Bjornsson, whereas Eddie is just Eddie Hall.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take it away from Thor though. I will give Thor the most followers in strongman by 1 million. Brian's only at 1.2, so Eddie and Thor are both crushing Brian. So it looks like your average strongman who's just top 10 that doesn't really care but has an Instagram is getting about 200,000, which is about where he's getting. So
Obi's got 566,000.
Ober's is active though in social media.
Yeah, Obi loves his social media.
Yeah,
because he just likes to be funny. Yes.
Yeah.
And Ober's talked about his Instagram on the History Channel show.
Yes, he did.
Oh yeah,
and there was an
Eddie
episode
had
about
that contest to see who could get the most likes. Eddie did one post and Obi did, I think it was 3 or 4.
Yeah, so they both got a shout out to their Instagrams on the History Channel, which could not hurt.
Yeah, and Nick Vest 294K.
I still wish that I'd known that they were filming an episode of Wyoming, because I might have actually tried to make it out, even though it's clear across the state. Which, but still.
I don't know. He has the same kind of following. I don't know if he'd make more money in strongman or powerlifting. So if he comes to strongman, I think it's just because it's what he wants to do. I don't really. I'm not looking at like he would get that much bigger of a following if he transitioned or anything.
Yeah.
And I don't think he would
just
win.
Be down to events earnings, and there's guys who would still beat him out a lot, so he doesn't like placing top.
You know what he needs to do? He needs to go and say, "Hey, if I get 1 million followers, I'll do a video of me deadlifting." I would follow him instantly if I knew I could eventually see what his deadlift was.
See, I'm already following him, so that wouldn't help his numbers for me.
Just make a separate account.
Just make
That's
a bunch
true.
of
I could
accounts. Just code a bot that constantly makes Instagram accounts and follows Julius.
I'm sure there's one of those on GitHub right now that just creates fake accounts. Actually, you can do that with JavaScript, can't
Oh,
you?
dude, he should go for like. I kind of want to see him just do push-ups. I want to see what it's like with well, how much does he weigh? Like 400. What was his body
Or
weight?
something, yeah.
Yeah, like I want to see a 430-pound dude rep just like he would get.
He's in the
how
top
many, right?
weight class for powerlifting.
He would get like probably 30, 40. How many? It'd just be crazy someone that big do push-ups like a normal human being.
That would be impressive to see.
I also think
the most
what he can
recent
do.
contest that he did, he weighed in at 443 points.
Yeah, just see a 443-pound man just repping out
Push-ups. That'd be
push-ups.
awesome.
Because you know it totally could.
Pull-ups. Pull-ups would be great too. It's fun to watch Martins just rep out pull-ups with how big he is.
He sickens me by how many.
Martins, yeah, Martins can probably do more pull-ups than anyone else in strongman. And I think that number set at like what 5 was what he got.
Well, Brian Shaw did 6.
What?
At the super
You just
heavyweight
got
level.
the zingers today, man. What's that number 5? Oh, Bill Belichick of strongman. You're just on a roll today, Justin.
Justin, you are. Fucking
Yeah,
killing
I'm
it.
now like 6 years back into Julius's Instagram, or it's still nothing but bench.
Bench and incline. That's all he does. He's never squatted or deadlifted in an official competition.
No, but when people, every time anyone ever asks him about it, he says that he does train it, like it's a part of his program.
See, it tells me his numbers aren't impressive.
Oh, I see a deadlift.
Shut up. How long ago was it?
It's the first time I used figure 8 straps. Is the thing. I finally found it, but I don't think this is like a serious weight
Effort, yeah.
Looks like a serious weight.
No,
7.
So where is it? How far down do you have to go?
Oh, I thought I sent you a link to it. 7. I think that's 725 pounds.
And that was last year or so.
So 745s on either side, and is that a 10?
That looks like a 25.
Or 25?
Yeah, I assumed the one on the end was a 25. I also didn't add the collar, which would have been, those look like 2.5-pound collars. So it looks like 730 pounds. Unless I miscounted the plates. That's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Well, no, shit. That was
He could definitely pull some good numbers.
But with his pressing, do you think he can row that? Because his bench... Wait, how much was that deadlift? So that's 730-pound deadlift. He's benched more than that. So he can row the same amount he can deadlift, is what we just looked at here. His row and his deadlift are the same. Probably. What? If he can... So he's bench pressed, what was his max? Like 765 or something before he went for the 800 that he probably could have gotten if it wasn't for the misstep. I can bench. I can row not too far off of what I can bench. So if Julius Maddox is similar, that means his row would be like 730-ish, 700 pounds. So something his row and his deadlift would be about the same.
I'm going to have to go back, but I'm pretty sure I can row more than I can bench press.
So that he could row more than he could deadlift?
I doubt that.
It's possible, but we don't know.
It's just so weird with someone's numbers being that high in bench and the highest deadlift we have. Having the same deadlift number as bench number.
It just shows how much he focuses on bench.
Yeah, but also think about all the other lifts that are in comparison to his deadlift.
See, now I want to know what to do.
Even if he could squat,
I want to know how much this dude can squat now. We found the deadlift.
Just to figure out a total.
Let's just say he did the same, and then add 800 pounds for the bench, and we can estimate his total at 2260.
Yeah, I can
and this
see
is
him
raw.
having.
This is raw though.
Yeah, I could see him having a raw total in the 2000s. Probably, like
the
low.
bench press was raw, but the deadlift wasn't. But we'll just assume that he can do it raw. He was just trying out the stuff. So
I
raw.
don't know that he could though.
I would put him at an even 700 for deadlift raw. So kind of even out then. If that was 730 with straps,
and then what's raw for squat? Are you allowed wraps, knee wraps with raw squat?
I'm never
So what is the raw powerlifting total?
Oh, and I'll look at
all totals with and without wraps.
For
super heavyweight. All of 2,518 pounds.
Who has that? Is that
So what? Oh, whoops. So he's only like a couple hundred pounds off. And that's if his squat and bench, or that's if his squat and deadlift have progressed to 0 over the last couple of years. Or with straps or without straps. Oh, that's hilarious. Ray Williams has the no wraps record, right? But the with wraps record is with or without. And because he did it without wraps, he has both records at the same place right now. But yeah, Julius looks about 200 pounds off of Ray Williams. So maybe we will see him make an attempt at the all-time powerlifting totals.
Possible. I'm pretty sure he's still focused on the 800 first, but after that, I wouldn't be too surprised.
If he gets 800, he can just do his gym PRs and put that together and be 200 pounds short. So he just needs to do add 100 pounds to his squat, 100 pounds to his deadlift from where it was several years ago.
Across the board.
800. Oh no, he'd still be short. He would need to add like 20 pounds onto something.
I mean, that'd be still fun to watch. Everything just be even 800.
They don't even, yeah. So he would need to add 52 pounds to something or across all of them. But that would be hilarious to do like 815,
he could probably
815.
He could probably push his deadlift up to 900 if he trained for a while.
And they just don't even change the bar. They just start off with they just squat, deadlift, bench, and they never reload the bar.
They just grab a forklift and just move it onto the other things. Yeah.
Or like his 12 closest friends.
Just hoist it up.
They measure it once. He does his squat.
I would say for the deadlift, just do that after the bench. Grab the bench and flip it over and just throw the bar off the bench.
Like some big ass deadlift jack.
Oh my god. Actually,
I could see that being a strongman or powerlifting comedy video now, using a bench as a freaking deadlift jack.
That would be hilarious.
Brian talked about something that I kind of want to see someone do now. So he was spotting the guy that he trains bench with, and he was holding the bar down, and then so the guy couldn't press up, and then the guy's like, "Well, I'll do that to you on your next set or something." And Brian's like, "I think I'd just lift you and the bar up," and the guy's like, "Yeah, you probably would." Now I kind of want to see someone lifts, someone kind of hold onto the bar and then press the bar and the person.
The person goes with it.
Yeah,
that would be funny. I would very much.
I think if anyone would do it, if there wasn't a risk for injury, Shaw would do it with that guy he benches with.
Well, yeah, and I think that guy wouldn't be strong enough to do it. You'd need someone who's 100 and around 100 pounds who does climbing and stuff, because they would need to plank super hard in an awkward position to hold themselves.
I know the perfect person for it. Yeah, I would say Juji with Magnus. Those two.
Juji with Magnus could
absolutely do that.
Because Juji could put 135 pounds on the bar, and then Magnus would add another 100, and then he would just do a 250-pound bench, and he could do it probably for a couple reps.
That would be amazing.
Because Magnus would need to also be able to grip the bar, because it's going to want to turn him like this as the bar goes up. So yeah, you would need magnet because he has to lock his entire body for it to be the proper amount of funny. Because if he can lock and grip and not move, and then you just see like Juji like press him up, and his body just goes up and down with the thing, that would be hilarious.
I think they could do it.
I almost wouldn't be surprised if they have done it just for the hell of it.
Yeah, it would be filmed.
Because that's the sort of yeah, that's true. But I could very easily see that happening.
And with how swole Tom is getting, maybe Tom could do it. Who knows? He's getting pretty
Tom's
jacked.
making a lot of progress.
Tom has a 500-pound deadlift, don't forget. And his other numbers are pretty good as well.
Yeah, Tom's come a long way. His deadlift is what's I think is the most impressive lift of Tom's. Mm-hmm. He has an amazing deadlift.
500 is no joke, especially body size.
Nope.
Really good.
Because he weighs what? He would 180 pounds or 170 pounds for a comp.
Something like that, and then however tall he is or whatever. Because the one thing that annoys me is when people are like pound for pound strongest. I'm like, yeah, but 135-pound dude that's about 5'6" is going to be a lot stronger than the dude who's 6'2" and 105 pounds. I feel like everyone who does pound for pound does it wrong. That's just.
I agree with that.
But then that's 100%. Because me being 135 and doing as much as I can, I still can't touch the records in my weight class because they were done by dudes who are almost a foot shorter than. Like, come on.
Yeah, because
Yeah, I'm 135, 6'2". So the fact that I was 6'2", actually when I was maxed out on all my lifts, I only weighed 130. So I was 6'2", 130. I could bench 150, squat 225, and deadlift 315 on a trap bar.
So yeah, the more bone structure you have,
skinnier than I am now. So
yeah, someone shorter can a lot more of that poundage to muscle.
Huh.
It's probably an advantage Kearney had until he went into open to just like super heavyweight.
Oh yeah.
Because I think if Rob would have not transitioned to super heavyweight, he probably just would have won heavyweight for like the next 20 years.
Right.
Probably.
And to be fair, him being shorter, it does give him a little bit of advantage on pressing events because he doesn't have far to travel with it. I know he's that time. It's not a massive advantage, but it's a little bit of something.
But the disadvantage of his hand size overrules any advantage he has at anything else. Because your hand size comes into play on everything.
Yeah.
So
about that.
that's a massive disadvantage I don't think the pants make up for.
No.
Full circle, back to tights.
We're always going to land on tights until I have tights and then deadlift 500 pounds in tights. And then
do that live on the podcast.
Probably make it work.
Not the part where you're putting on the tights. You can do that.
I might actually try that. So a buddy of mine.
What's the point?
So a friend of mine's been training for doing a 270-pound log press, which that might be fun to do on the podcast.
A 270 log?
Yeah.
Yeah, that, or we can also start doing like Instagram lives on the podcast Instagrams too.
Because log is really hard, and 270 is kind of getting up there.
Log is
a full from the ground to overhead.
Yep.
That'd be a really good lift.
What weight class is he?
Dude, he's lost some weight now. Now he's down to 255.
So
log pressing more than his body weight. Yeah, that's pretty good.
So he'd be not a super heavyweight then.
No, DB wants to. I don't even wait. What's the?
I think super heavyweight.
275 is super heavy. 275 and up is super heavy.
Yeah, it's right. The next one's 235. So he's right in the middle of heavyweight.
Yeah, because then the top weight class is just 308 plus, because that's what Julius Maddox. He weighs 440.
Well, I thought we were talking about strongman here in our weight class.
I think they're forgetting
that they have different weight classes. But yeah.
Yeah, but
I've never actually looked at the difference between weight classes. So
well, we have one in our server, in our Discord server. We have weight classes to submit our lifts and whatnot, so we can.
But do we have separated by parallel? Strong.
Tell your friend to put on 20 pounds, and then let me know when we want to have a 2-7. We want to have a log off. I will.
I mean, what's your max log
right now?
Yeah,
I've not maxed out on log. My coach doesn't have that in my program.
Well, what do you
Right.
think? Like, what are you fairly confident that, like, yeah, I could hit that?
I could probably hit. I would feel confident if I primed right, so warmed up properly. I feel confident in the 260 log right now. Is what I feel confident
good.
in. It's not good enough.
Oh,
It's
so
not
you
300 pounds. I need to hit a 300-pound log.
so you're about the same spot.
As who? You or him?
No, him. I am nowhere. I can do like 90 pounds less than that.
I thought you had a really good log.
Dude, I'm like 180. So I can do my 90-pound log in 245s. So 90 plus 90. 180.
Well then, actually, when I'd have to get a 12-inch log because mine's only 10-inch. So that wouldn't. It's different.
I don't know if it's that much different. Like I think
I measure my log. It's like 11 and change on my log sits at. I measure.
I find the bigger the log, the easier it is for me because I get more rolling space. So when I put it down low and then I do my rotation, it moves further. So I can roll it easier to get up to my clean position. Where a smaller log, it doesn't go that far. So I think 12 inch. I don't know. Maybe some people it's different, but for me, I feel like a 12-inch would be easier than like.
Well,
I
have a metal fabricator. I'm gonna actually take my log to him so he can see the design, and he's gonna give me a price on a 12-inch log. So
Nice.
we'll see what
Can
happens.
you get a custom one made?
Yeah.
You're not gonna forge your own out of a log and a hatchet.
Well, I have logs to do that with, but they're not 12-inch. They're 10, 10 and a half. Goofy numbers because they're natural.
What are the Austrian oak? Like, what is that?
I think I thought it was a 10. I think it's a 10-inch actually. And I'm not just saying it because I have a 10-inch log. I truly believe that it's a 10-inch log. So our weight classes are lightweight up to 181, middleweight up to 182 to 220, heavyweight 221 to 275. So actually all your buddy has to do is add like 2 pounds and then he's in my weight class. And then I'll go head to head with him. And I will immediately start training for that tomorrow. And I will know my max log by next week. What's that?
With your tweaked back, though.
We'll see. It feels better today. I wanted to wait a little. I wanted to actually wait till probably this weekend to lift. But if we're doing this, I'll chance it tomorrow.
Yeah.
He just needs to gain 2 pounds. Just tell him to put on 2 pounds.
2 pounds.
Just be like, dude, eat an extra meal every day for the next week. He'll put on the 2 pounds. He'll be in my weight class then, and we can go for it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'll see. Oh, but
and then
maybe...
he'll start training for it. That's okay. Hey, it'll give me my 300-pound log much quicker than I planned doing it.
Maybe doing some live lifting would be pretty cool on the podcast. Setting that up.
I think it would be fun. It would be. I think it would be kind of hard to coordinate, especially with different time zones and whatnot. You and I can coordinate it pretty quick.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to lift at 7 o'clock? Yeah, sure. Let's lift at 7 p.m. Okay. You're a whole 2 hours behind us, aren't you, Tyler? 2 or 3.
2 mountain time. So.
All right.
Okay.
So gonna look up what's coming up next before we wrap up real quick.
Yep.
Morals. Seeing what World's Ultimate Strongman has coming up. They add things so often.
At first I had a different opinion about this, but I'm loving what they're doing. I love it. They're giving us content.
It's very fun. I enjoy it.
I never disliked it. I just still think that all these should be viewed in a separate place as competition.
Aren't
but
they?
I also
I thought Big Z said they were.
No, see, that is still up in the air, and just everyone decided to just no longer talk about it. But I still think they should be viewed differently. But I also think all of Rogue record breakers should be in the same category as these World Ultimate Strongman attempts.
I agree with that.
And because this is something that's been coming, Rogue kind of started it. I think World Ultimate Strongman got it right. And so we have Andrea Thompson. So women's log lift attempt. And then JF Carone versus Adam Bishop. So another 400 kilogram
reps,
deadlift for
yeah.
reps.
That'll be exciting.
So what are you predicting that JF Carone and Adam Bishop will get? And we'll wrap up with that.
I think they'll get the 6. I think one of them will pull 6 or 7. I'm going to go with 7 will be the max that either of them get, and I truly think both of them are fully capable of doing 7.
Yep.
I'm gonna call 5. One gets 5, one gets 6.
Okay, that's. I mean, so we all agree that we're probably going to see the 6 there.
I think JF Carone's gonna get the 6, and Adam Bishop's gonna get the 5.
I would love if JF Carone won that one, because he has the current record, doesn't he? At 5.
Yeah.
I think it's JF Carone and Janasia.
Maybe.
I'm probably butchering his name. The traps guy that has the ridiculous.
Janashia, yeah, he's the one who has the traps that goes up to his ears. Yep.
And he has like 3 or 4 of them.
The Georgian Bull. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
He is cool. I like him a whole bunch. But I think those two actually have the current record for that, which is 5. Rauno tied it. Pritchett came in 1 short. And I think JF Carone can not. I think he can do it. Is what I think. I think he can pull. I think he will get 6 or 7, but I think Bish can get 6 or 7 as well.
I don't see 7. I feel very confident no one gets 7. I'll call 5, 6. But so you're gonna go with 6, 7?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll go with Bish 6, JF 7. I'll go with that. I think I'm gonna go with that.
I agree with that too. That's about where I'm sitting at. I think is pretty much agree with Cody here.
So
6, 7.
Yeah.
Because I'm always going with you don't rep world records, and 6 is the record, so you don't get 7.
Well, 5 is the record.
5 is the record, right?
5 is the current record.
6 would be the next record.
Mm-hmm.
And if he did 7, he'd be repping the record. Because the record's one more than 5.
But if I'm right, if Tyler and I are right, that means Bish will have done 6 and will be tied, and JF will have to share it, whereas he can pull another one. So technically, at that point, he's still having.
I was just saying, I think he could do it, but so far I haven't ever seen, since we've been doing predictions, that's always held true.
And I'm always wrong.
So until it goes,
I'm always wrong
true,
too.
That's always going to be my prediction: is you don't rep world record. But we'll see.
We will see. Like I said, I am notoriously bad at this because I have very high expectations, and it really kind of ruins some of this shit for me because I'm constantly like, you can do it, and then they're like, no, we're not even touching it. Like, freaking Killer Scott didn't even touch the dumbbell. I was like, what the fuck? It was awful. It was an awful experience for me.
Yep. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up. We'll catch everyone back up in about 2 weeks. So catch everybody then.
Real quick, while we're still here, what about the giveaway and whatnot? How did that end up landing? I got kind of tied up with work and everything.
Oh no, we didn't have anyone actually qualify for it, so we'll all run it again this week. I'll get a post around on Reddit and stuff and see, and we'll let you get.
Comment on our videos for a chance to win.
Yep.
Yes, please comment, and we want.
It doesn't have to be relevant. You can just say hi. I mean, we'd appreciate feedback, but.
Yep.
Oh, that's nice. Mean feedback hurts our feelings. At least I assume it will.
If you give us mean feedback, Alexei Novikov is going to come to your house and steal all your.
I don't know that Alexei Novikov will do that, but seriously, comment, enter the giveaway. Still straps and BCAAs.
Mm-hmm.
Enter the giveaway.
And don't forget to follow Embrace the Weight on Instagram.
Yes, and share, and subscribe.
And until next time.
Cheers.